nomás tú la quieres. Ay, Rogelio.
¿Qué hablan?
¿Quién sabe? Tú le vas a decir que sí.
No me involucren en sus atrocidades.
En sus cosas. El timo ya sabes cómo es.
Every time we get people, we do everything outside.
¿Cómo estuvo el evento? ¿Bien?
Normal, igual que todos los años, sin chiste, sin... Pues es un informe, pues que, sin sustancia, no. ¿El qué? Pues el alcalde qué. No es como Nuevo Laredo sí tiene...
No, ya sí tiene poder.
Digo, es un gran persona, un gran hombre, lo aprecio mucho y todo, pero, pues qué, él nomás saluda, él...
No le digas eso a Noraida Rendón porque le da negrón, porque le da diarrea.
Ah, pobrecito. Ah, Laredo. Mira, yo siempre, como siempre les digo, nosotros los periodistas hemos visto pasar tanta gente, tanto funcionario, que me da risa cuando se ponen locos. Yo los ignoro. Ok, esto, ok. ¿Por qué? Porque mañana ya no están. Y tú y yo, aquí vamos a estar.
Así se lo dije una vez a un ex jefe de tránsito. Pues ahorita eres su jefe, compadre. Yo voy a seguir siendo por esto toda mi vida. ¿Y sí? ¿Está desaparecido?
Y te apuesto que ese tipo...
¿Ya no apareció?
¿Dónde está ese güey?
¿No?
Va a estar vendiendo en la esquina de su casa, o si es que le fue bien. O sea, en fin, por eso...
Se les sube.
Sí, gente loca. O sea, yo nomás los miro. ¿Has oído la expresión esa como Dios mira a los conejos?
No.
¿Sabes cómo los mira? Chiquitos y orejones.
Sí.
Así es fácil.
¿Te van a hablar aquí de likes?
¿No?
Just wanted to let you know that this is mine,
Oh.
just in case.
say hello to Mike.
Hey,
Reverend Mike, how are you?
how are you doing?
It's been a long time.
Yes, yes, yes. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Where's sister? I saw
She's
her.
on the tour.
Ah, okay.
I'm having a little trouble with the knee and I don't want to push it.
With your knee.
Yeah.
Ah. Did you have surgery or just?
No, I think it's arthritis. It flares up periodically.
Oh, and the weather doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, thank you, Lord. I didn't see you. I forgot.
That's okay, I was hiding.
Thank you. I look pretty good other than a knee that flares up periodically and I keep putting off surgery. I don't particularly want to have a knee replacement. I had seen a doctor here and he said, it's just, the knee is going to flare up periodically until you can't stand it. But he says, manage the pain and keep moving. Don't just, and when I do, I really, but there's days that it's worse than others.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm fine. I've done esophagus where you start with the head and you end up eyes, teeth, colonoscopy last Friday, and just, I just gotta do it.
Yeah.
I did tell the gastroenterologist that this is not coming. Yeah, at my age, forget it.
And my mom said that was like the one good news, her last one. She's like, this is my last one.
No, yeah, I've done my last one. And I said, the procedure is nothing, it's the prep, it's so,
Yeah.
oh my God, and I said to Rosemary, you know what to do. You can take care of yourselves, we understand why and all of that. But what do people do that don't have anyone to manage with them?
Yeah.
We took care of an elderly lady who has since passed away. She was 82. But she lived alone. She didn't read English. She just, when she was a very nervous little lady, to such a concern. She didn't be able to manage it. Bring her home to us and we would take care of her. She did everything she was supposed to. We kept encouraging her because the way our little house, the bathrooms are just across the hall, but still in an emergency. So we said, let her sleep. They wanted to go to the bathroom just across the hall. And then I said to Rosie, what if she gets up during the night? So anyway, the two of us slept in recliners and she slept all night. Baby, she never woke up during the night. And she woke up, she says, I slept so well. And think of it, she said she knew we were there.
Yeah.
She said we were every time she moved a little over looking at her. Anyway, she went to the doctor the next day and she's sitting in the living room and everybody, and she started up a conversation and she got funny right at it. Well, that's the state of the sister's house last night. They took her. She was telling everybody, Sister Rosemary, we're not doing this anymore. I said, we're going to get calls and say, can you take us in for the night?
That's fine, sorry.
Pensé que también me lo dejé.
And she was funny. She was I went to the house and they took all day.
Once the word gets out,
Yeah.
it's going to be like a sign-up sheet for when
Right.
you stay at
Can I-
Sisters.
Yeah, can I come over then? Oh gosh, I tell you. But she was a sweetheart. She died, it'll be a year in March, I think. And she was in a nursing home, just very close to the shelter. So Rosemary would stop by every day and I would go time off, but I would tell people to laundry, I would take it home and wash her clothes, because we believe some people have donated like food gowns and things for her. So we have 2 nice laundry baskets of Mays. We took one and brought one home. And one of the women who works at the nursing home said, this is really good that you're doing this, because some of the things would probably disappear. I said, we suspected that. It was a pleasure to care for her. She was real sweet.
She was lucky to have you guys.
I don't even know Rosemary met her. She used to come to our house actually years ago on Saturdays when we had the food pantry. And she would always sit at the table and have her little coffee. And she'd stay to the end because then when it was all over, we could see her. So
I know that you know this way that we meet her just a few times when sister make it well. She's like, you can't probably.
Oh, Mike. Mike's over here.
Yes, sir.
They were talking about rolling you over here.
Me too.
Exactly right.
So, Mike,
Yes, sir.
and then I'll say this or whatever way. All right.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. So, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a Holding Institute. Welcome to Holding Institute. Voy a compartir algo en español y luego un poco en inglés. So, en estos tiempos caóticos que vemos alrededor de nosotros, a veces no sabemos nosotros dónde estar, dónde poner nuestro pie, pero les quiero decir que hay que mantenernos firmes, ¿verdad? Y si lo que vemos ahorita en evidencia que el gobierno está soltando gente, poca gente de los centros de detención, y a lo mejor es un cambio en la conciencia, en la brújula de la administración. No sabemos, pero aquí estamos pendientes y estamos listos para servir, porque ojalá que ese cambio vaya a ser al favor de la humanidad. So, in times of conflict and change, I know there's a lot of uncertainty amongst a lot of places, amongst a lot of people, and what we're seeing right now is small releases from detention centers, and perhaps this is a shift in the moral compass of the current administration. I don't know, but if it is, I would call on them to err on the side of humanity and to do something that is without question, it's just the right thing to do. We're talking about simple things, you know, receiving people, providing food and shelter, and doing it in a safe way. We don't want to see people on the streets, and we want to help as many people as we can. And with that in mind, we've extended an invitation to the city of Laredo, the Sinaloa, and to our Congressman, Mr. Cuellar, to give us some input on what's going on at their levels. Thank you.
Okay. I'll say a few words and I'll pass it on to my good friend Melissa. First of all, thank you for being here today. Let me start off with thanking the pastor and all of y'all. I think we spoke last week, and I got a call last week and they said, "Did you know this is happening?" And my response was, "No, I did not know that this was happening." And that is in simple terms, is they're releasing people from the Dilley facility, which is a family unit facility. They're releasing people from there to, as far as we know, only one place on the border, which is here at Holding. I think part of the reason is that Holding has this reputation. They're not political. They don't get involved in politics. They just do what's right. How do we treat human beings when they need help? Do they need food? Do they need clothing? Do they need Medicaid, healthcare, should I say? And that's what they do. They take care of people. What we should do as human beings. So they never really stopped in many ways accepting. But the last few weeks or so, there's been releases, and they all change. 24 a day. 45, 50, I think at one time you all even had about 100 people at one particular time. Now, who are these individuals? It was my first question, one of the first questions. Who are these family units coming in? Are they recent crossers? People that just crossed over? Or are they people that were in the interior of the United States? The answer is both. Some are recent crossers, but some of them were in the interior of the U.S. Maybe they got picked up at Lowe's. Maybe they were going to an immigration court to follow the process, sister, as we talked about. And as you know, some of them have been picked up, when they're leaving the immigration court. So they are folks that just crossed, and people that were the interior that were there, picked up at different places. They go and they spend time at the Dilley facility, and there it varies. There's been different amount of times, and as you know, there's still a Florida's agreement that says that kids are not supposed to be more than, I believe, 21 days, and so they are released. And what's interesting, it looks like the same process that the Obama administration had, the Biden administration had. I don't know about the Bush administration, and now this current administration, where they are released at a non-for-profit humanitarian, let's say, Holding in this case. Right now it's only one. In this path we had Catholic services and many other places. So they are released, and depending what time the bus comes in from Dilley, if they come in at night, then of course they get to stay at the places that we just showed you. If they come in early in the morning, haven't spent time in a facility, the first thing they want to do is get on the phone, make the arrangement on the buses with their families, and then they take off. They want to take off. So they're not here for days or days. I think the only exception was a family that came in San Diego, and they spent 6 days here because they took the phones away. So they get to keep their phones, so they're able to find family members or friends so they can go back. As far as we know, they're going back to, if they were already in the interior, they go back to where they might have families or friends, and then they're given the paperwork. Remember, they had a paperwork, some of them, and they did not honor that paperwork, and now they're given the same paperwork, except they start the clock again, in my opinion. So they go back to the, finding out what happened if they had a job, what happened if they had a home, a place to stay. They're going back with a lot of uncertainty because they start this clock again. Now, years ago, back under the Obama administration, I started a program called the Humanitarian Relief, where border communities were getting some assistance, because I didn't think it was fair that Holding and the city of Laredo, the counties were, paying for the expenses when it should be the federal government. It worked for many years, but then when the numbers went up and the borders pretty much were open up, and they started going up to New York, Chicago, and other places, then those congressmen and senators said, oh, we need help. So that small program, I think it was about 35 million or somewhere 30 million, went up to 800 million. The moment it went up to 800 million, I kind of thought it might be problems because all of a sudden our Republicans started looking at that, hey, why are we paying for that? And sister, like you said, there was a lot of misinformation. Oh, they're paying for airplanes, they're paying for buses, they're paying for this, or they're doing that. There was a lot of misinformation. But when New York, and I'll say New York and the other places had people staying at hotels or still do, it got a lot of attention. Here it was just to provide the basic assistance, the food, you know, they need a little bit of health care, the clothing, and that's all. But when they went up to the Northeast and other places, it changed a little bit. So now, as you know, this new administration came in and they cut that off. And so I'm hoping, as the ranking Democrat in Homeland, is that we can talk about this a little bit more, at least at certain areas that we are looking at. Because, you know, again, and even if you don't get that assistance, they're still going to do the right thing.
Right.
I mean, that's what they're doing right now, and the donations and all that. So that, you know, I can go on, but that is basically a summary of what we have. But if you look at it, it is basically a similar process of what we saw in past administrations. So, Melissa?
Yes, just I want to express my deep appreciation to the organizations here in the city of Laredo that do ask our community to step up with donations. The Holding Institute, and often they work with Casa Misericordia, and there are other institutions here whose whole mission is to help people, to help them in a dignified way and to keep families together. So when this administration doesn't recognize papers of people who are in process, because many of them are in what we recognize as a legal process to go through our immigration system, when those people are deported here, then the cost of returning to their communities is borne by those same families. Mm-hmm. And the government is not assisting them in any way for having gotten caught up in this basically mistaken identity and the consequences of that. So I'm incredibly proud of the city of Laredo. I serve as a council member here, of our private institutions, organizations that take it on this incredibly important mission to keep families together, to treat people with dignity, and to help them conform to our immigration process. It would be, in my opinion, more helpful if that process were clear. But right now, this is the mission that they are called upon, and the city will do everything it can to support our private organizations that are doing this.
And before we open up for questions, I certainly want to join the city councilwoman and Holding, Pastor, that, you know, for people, if you can donate and help out Holding Institute. There's more things that, you know, we can talk about, but I'd rather just, if you don't mind, opening up for questions. En español, en inglés, podemos hacer unas palabras en español o las preguntas. Vamos a comenzar en español. Las preguntas en español primero.
¿Qué tipo de donaciones están solicitando congresista Mike, pastor y regidora? ¿Cuál es la ayuda que están solicitando?
Ropa, comida.
De lo básico
Pañales.
sí, siempre, imagínate tu propio hogar, ¿qué hace falta en tu hogar para hacer lunches en la noche, para la comida del siguiente día, pañales, wipes, cosas así. Y yo entiendo que hay gente que a lo mejor puede decir, pues yo me pongo la mano en mi bolsa y no tengo nada, pero bueno, pues una ración o si tienes un paquetito de colorines o algo así para los niños. Todos sabemos, o si no sabes cuánto vale un paquete de pañales, vale ya como $30 o más, $30 o más, o cualquier cosa, no lo hacemos fuchi.
Cuéntame un poquito de este proceso. Os había comentado que era como clockwork. Son llevadas a Dilley, luego llegan aquí a Holding. Más o menos me puede dar una explicación de este proceso, cómo funciona, van a ir a corte, qué sigue.
Ok, el proceso, primero, las personas que llegan aquí, los adultos tienen los ankle monitors. Los jóvenes o los niños no tienen ese tipo, nomás los adultos. Cuando salen de Dilley, hay una coordinación, hay un tiempo donde ellos saben a qué hora, y lo quiero dar la gracia porque en el pasado a veces nomás dejaban personas de la ciudad en otras partes, pero hay coordinación. Las personas ya vienen con un papel donde dicen que se van porque ya saben a qué comunidad, a qué estado, Nueva York, California, otras partes, y buscan la corte de inmigración más cerca para esas personas. Hubo un poco de problema donde el Border Patrol no estaba aceptando esto, pero ya hubo esa comunicación. Y la cosa que es interesante es que a un tiempo unos de ellos ya tenían ese papel que era suficiente, pero como sea lo levantaron, lo pusieron en Dilley, están aquí, todo ese gasto, tiempo afuera de donde estaban, y tienen el mismo papel pero con otra fecha. Comenzaron, como dicen en inglés, start the clock again, van a comenzar el tiempo otra vez, pero van a estar, se van a regresar donde viven, y la corte de inmigración lo más cerca posible.
Pero, bueno, me pregunté que esto, o sea, los detienen y todo. ¿Cuál es el propósito de esto? Pues si se les va a liberar para que lleven el proceso de la corte y todo esto.
¿Cómo?
O sea, ¿cuál es el propósito de detenerlos? Si, o sea, se va a llevar a corte y se los va a liberar para que pues...
Bueno, esa es la pregunta, es que unos de ellos fueron levantados saliendo de la corte. Algunos estaban trabajando en otra parte, es que por eso estoy diciendo, ¿por qué levantaron a unos cuando ya tenían el papel? Y lo están dando el mismo papel, el mismo permiso que ya unos de ellos tenían, no todos, pero unos tenían ese permiso, que es una promesa donde van a decir, me voy a presentar a la corte en esta ciudad, ese estado, en esta fecha, a ese tiempo. Unos de ellos ya lo tenían.
Mr. Congressman,
Perdón,
en
si puedo
español.
añadir. Un mito que existe en la nación es que esta gente no se presenta en el corte cuando tiene fecha. Y la gran mayoría, si están en el proceso y tienen los papeles, sí se presenten en el corte. Claro que sí, porque lo que quieren hacer es estar aquí legalmente. Y ellos empezaron el proceso y están haciendo todo lo que el gobierno le está diciendo que tiene que hacer para poder estar permitido quedarse aquí.
Y el enfoque debe de estar en los criminales, las personas que son riesgo a la comunidad, a la nación, o los que tienen una orden de un juez de inmigración final, sin apelación, que hay 1.7 millones de personas. Ese debe de ser el enfoque. Pero aquí estamos viendo que unas de esas personas, o se están saliendo porque no tienen récord criminal, pero unas de esas personas estaban tratando de hacer las cosas correctamente, y lo levantaron. Y lo están dando el mismo permiso que ya unos de ellos tenían en las manos.
¿Cuántos migrantes hay aquí?
¿Mande?
¿Cuántos migrantes hay aquí?
Bueno, como digo, y ellos pueden ser, cada día llegan de 24 a 100 personas, dependiendo a cuántas personas salen, familias, porque son adultos y niños.
Pero tengo que migración no les permite quedarse más de 72 horas en un lugar. O sea, cada uno de ellos no puede estar aquí más de 2 o 3 días.
No. Yo creo que estás hablando en los Border Patrol Stations.
No aquí.
No aquí. En el Border Patrol Station, cuando había muchas personas, no deben de estar más de 72 horas. Este es el Border Patrol Station. En Dilley, que es un centro de familias, el Flores Agreement, un arreglo donde un juez dijo niños no deben de estar más de 21 días ahí en esos tipos de centros.
Congresista, ¿en qué cambió la...
Yeah, no, no.
Oh, ok, ¿en qué cambió a partir del 17 de enero la política de liberación? Y quiero saber en qué estatus quedan las personas que son liberadas. ¿Cuál es el estatus de esas personas?
¿Por qué cambiaron? No sabemos. Como yo dije ahorita, yo no sabía de lo que estaba pasando, porque lo que se oía de la administración, nadie va a salir o lo vamos a deportar. Y aquí recibí la llamada de Holden, dices, oye, congresista, ¿sabes que está pasando esto en este momento? Que están dejando personas de Dilley, llegan a Laredo y se regresan donde están. ¿Por qué cambiaron esto? No sabemos.
¿Falta espacio? ¿Cuánto tenemos suficiente espacio?
Bueno, si siguen la ley, si es una familia con niños, los niños no deben de estar ahí más de 21 días. Es que ese centro, cada 21 días depende cuando llega un niño, 21 días deben de salir. No, se oye, no sabemos, ¿verdad? No sabemos que a veces están en uno, lo cambian a otro para comenzar el clock. No sabemos. Dijeron unos, pero no estamos, no sabemos.
¿Y cuál es el estatus después de que son liberados? ¿Cómo quedan? ¿Cuál es el estatus?
Bueno, tienen el papel donde se van a presentar a la corte, donde pueden presentar su caso.
Les voy a preguntar en inglés, ¿está bien?
Sí, cómo no.
Si no importa. I'm sure you're watching the news about Liam Conejo Ramos. He's the 5-year-old that's getting a lot of attention in Dilley for being captured in Minneapolis. I'm curious if y'all know anything about whether he might come here or even the treatment of what they're receiving in Dilley influences, you're talking about taking care of them when they from Dilley come here. Obviously, very different conditions. If you could talk to a little bit about that or anything you might know.
We don't know anything about, we know that he's there. I know my friend Joaquin Castro was there, but we don't know what's going to happen after that. But again, one thing that I added in the appropriation some years ago, besides the humanitarian relief, was that every center, if they follow the law, I added language that members of Congress can go in at any time. They changed it where now they say 7 days. That's not the law that I added to the appropriations. We could do it without asking for permission, but now yesterday we were on a phone call and some member from Congress said that from California went to a center, he gave the 7 days, they still went up and they said, oh, they're still doing things if they follow the law. I also added very strict language that kids or adults should get medical care, food, whatever they need there, clothing, education also. They're supposed to get all that in there if they follow the law. Notice I would not say that in the past, but now I say if they follow that law, which I hope that they are doing that.
Aprovechando la pregunta, ¿cuál es su postura sobre la detención prolongada del menor que mencionaron ahorita?
Well, if they follow the law, the Flores, whenever his clock started for 21 days, he should be released.
Claro. Y una pregunta más rápidamente.
Let me have her and then we'll go back.
Just wanted to.
You guys at the same TV station? No, I'm just kidding.
So just wanted to know, why are these individuals being brought here specifically to the holding unit here in Laredo? And then also, if you could please talk about the process. Are they taken from Dilley and they're brought here? Are they then released with a court date? What is the process after arriving here?
Yeah. Well, they're in Dilley after when they got detained, either recent crossers or interior. They're sent to Dilley. That's a family unit facility. When they're released, as far as we know, this is the only place that they're releasing folks. Depending what time of the day they get here, and I'll let Holly go into more details, they've been there. So as soon as they get out and they get out of a bus, they want to make their bus arrangements and take the first bus out. If they come late at night, then of course then they get to spend the night, but usually they try to leave as soon as possible. Government doesn't pay for that transportation. It's all families, and they probably have to redo it again because they're redoing it. And keep in mind that if they're in the interior, maybe some of them got picked up at some lumber place, Lowe's or wherever, but some of them were cut up when they were following the rules of showing up at court. And they already had a paperwork, el permiso, as they call it in Spanish. They had the paperwork, and they didn't honor that. They go to Dilley, and when they're released, they're given the same paperwork. They go back to where they were with a different court date and time to show up.
And how many people are we expecting to come here in Laredo, and why Laredo specifically, if we're looking here?
I can answer that, but
Because they're good.
Sure.
Sorry.
Well, I think that, as the congressman said, we've been around for a long time. We've been around since 1860. We do a lot of good work. I mean, and we haven't forgotten our roots. In other words, when we accepted the responsibility to receive migrants, asylum seekers, we didn't forget what we were doing in the local community. We just added it on. Didn't replace one for another. We just added it on to our shoulders, and we've continued to do that. Why Holding in particular? I think it's because we're one of the few shelters that survived the administration change, right? And we barely survived. but we're here, and believe me, it was a very a difficult decision to make when we first decided to renew accepting individuals, because it's a personal and it's a professional risk that we take, to be honest with you. And we decided to do this because we believe very strongly that there are just some absolutes, and this is the right thing to do. This is one of them. It's a moral absolute. There should be no questions about it. You know, why would you refrain from giving someone a bottle of water, a warm plate of food, a pillow, a blanket, right? Just sometimes you just have to do the right thing, period.
Congresista, usted pertenece a un comité de asignaciones de alto rango.
Permiso. Nomás para añadir un poquito, I'm just going to add on. Also, I believe the city of Laredo, these are people coming from the detention centers. We have never in our community seen open borders here, right? Our community has always been a point where other communities along the border have sent us immigrants for processing, because here, for whatever reason, we do not see illegal immigration in the quantities that are seen in other places. So here, Holding Institute is available, right? They do wonderful work, and they're so connected to a wonderful network of organizations that support them. But it's also, they're available to do that. We just do not have that issue in our own community. So we're open to accept it from other places.
And with the number, I think it was forgotten to mention, how many individuals and families are we expecting to come here in the next few days?
They vary every day, and they've gone from, let's say, 24 to 100 individuals. It just depends how many people they release. They coordinate with them and say, in X amount of time, expect a bus to have X amount. So usually one bus, or sometimes, usually one, and then or van that are sent in. So it just varies. All we can say from 24 to 100 people, right? And it really started picking up January 21st. It started picking up. A little bit after that, I got a phone call saying, "Did you know?" And no, on it. And so that's why we're here, because to me it doesn't make sense. I can understand a recent crossing But if you get somebody over there, especially the ones who were trying to follow the rules, and they already had el permiso or the paperwork, and then you hold them at a detention, and then you release them, and then they have to go back and incur more costs, and probably wondering what happened to the place they were staying, wondering about job, if they had a job or whatever. I mean, it's, you know, being away for a while, it has to bring a lot of uncertainty on that.
Así, congresista, usted pertenece al Comité de Asignaciones de alto rango de seguridad. Y es uno de los congresistas más resaltantes, más destacados que hay en este país. ¿Cuál es su comentario? ¿Qué nos puede comentar su forma de actuar del ICE en diferentes ciudades de este país?
Sí. Bueno, primero lo que pasó en Minnesota fue algo que no debe de pasar. El ICE o el Departamento de Homeland Security tiene una póliza del uso de armas. Si ellos siguieran esta póliza, no Good y Petit ahorita deben de estar vivos. Número uno. Número dos, y ahorita los senadores están diciendo que fue algo muy interesante. Los senadores demócratas, republicanos, congresistas demócratas hicimos un arreglo. Pero después los senadores demócratas, pero ellos hicieron el arreglo con nosotros. Cuando dicen las personas que pusimos más dinero a ICE, eso no está correcto. No está correcto. Bajamos el dinero de ERO, que es el dinero para enforcement and removal. Esto lo bajamos. Números de camas o detention, bajamos esto también. Pusimos más dinero para Homeland Security Investigations, Child Exploitation, drogas, Human Trafficking, eso sí pusimos más dinero. El problema, y pusimos cosas, por ejemplo, ellos querían recortar la oficina de Civil Rights and Liberties, nosotros dijimos no, pusimos $10 millones. Pusimos 20 millones para las cámaras donde ICE debe de tener esas cámaras. Pusimos $millones para de-escalation, que es parte de la póliza de Force, y pusimos esto. Cuando unas personas dicen debemos de cerrar el gobierno por lo que pasó, no estoy de acuerdo, porque Homeland Security tiene ICE dividido en dos partes, Enforcement and Removal. La otra parte es Homeland Security Investigation, los casos criminales contra niños, mujeres y otras cosas. Pero parte de esto también tienen FEMA, que es muy importante para los dólares cuando hay un desastre. Tiene dinero para TSA, tiene dinero para CISA, que es el Cyber Security, tiene dinero para Coast Guard, tiene dinero para Secret Service. Y ese es el problema. Cuando los republicanos pasaron el Big Beautiful Bill / Ugly Bill, depending how you look at it, I call it the Ugly Bill, recortaron Medicaid, Medicare, affordable health care, they give tax breaks to the wealthy. For the working class, it was only 3 years instead of a permanent tax cut. And in there, they gave Homeland $200 billion. Homeland and the military got a lot more. ICE got specifically $75 billion. So if you close down the government, like some people say that they want to do, it doesn't affect the agency that you want to have an impact on. Now, we're hoping that we don't have a government shutdown. We're hoping that they can separate the 5 other agencies, healthcare, education, transportation, the other 5 bills, put Homeland apart, and then negotiate on some things I wanted. I wanted use of force. In other words, you have a use of force, deben de seguir la póliza. Training, I don't know if I mentioned training. Training for a nice officer used to be, era de 5 o 6, vamos a decir 6 meses de entrenamiento. Ahora lo dan $50,000 signing bonus. Si no tienes entrenamiento como law enforcement, como our deputies over here, la policía, son 47 días de entrenamiento, de 6 meses a 47. Pero si hablas español, te lo bajan a 42 días de entrenamiento. Si tenías experiencia como policía, son 15 días online, y ese es el problema, es que el entrenamiento se debe de regresar. La póliza de use of force es algo que deben de, yo lo estaba tratando de poner parte del comité, porque if they would have followed the policy, we would have not had any of the shootings itself there. So, let me finish with the media.
O sea, el Estado no le paga nada, por ejemplo, a Juan de Dilley por traerlos o el gobierno federal de Dilley aquí, no paga nada por el precio por algún migrante.
No. El momento que el gobierno lo paga, ellos pagan todo, pero al momento que llega las personas, they're on their own. Ya vas a llamar, que alguien te va a comprar el boleto para el Greyhound o lo que sea el bus. Pero el gobierno no paga esto. Lo dejan aquí, you're on your own. And what's frustrating is that some of them have already gone through the process. And that's what we're saying. Why are we going through the process? Why are you now releasing people on it? Now, there is talk, we don't know, about a MPP. We don't know. But right now, this is how they're releasing family units. Adults with ankle monitors, young kids, no such thing. Okay, then we'll go to the system. Okay, a couple more, then we'll go to the system.
Just a bit about the funding aspect. I know you previously mentioned that for the federal level here right now, all these operations, who are they being funded for? Is it the city of Laredo? Is it federal? Just wanted to know about that.
Holding?
Private.
All donations. The program I started back in 2014 and got funded in 2017, because the way I set it up was we would give it to the state. The two past Republican governors, one now and then the one before, they took the money and they didn't give us any money. I think they gave McAllen $250,000 during election time. So then what I decided to do was change the formula, the delivery, and say it's going to go from FEMA directly to CPP, FEMA, down directly to the cities or the counties or the non-for-profits. It was working well till, and I'll say this, I told this to my friends in New York, to the other cities, and then the thing went from, I think it was 35 million to 800 million. Then all of a sudden it becomes part of the radar, and that's why they took it off.
And how will this holding institute also be operating during this time of enforcement?
Well, I'll let them answer that, but I'll say this, they've been doing the right thing, the moral thing, that if somebody needs help and ICE is releasing them here, they're going to take care of them. And, the city, the county, the state, the federal government is not helping them at this time. It's all private donation, but they're doing the moral thing, which is help them.
And in terms of capacity over here, how many people are able to stay here, just to make sure that there aren't people, left out or on the streets? Just about a bit about the capacity.
Yeah.
So we have been, again, we've been in service to the community since 1860. I mean, we were the first institution to accept children and families of color when other places wouldn't. We're the first in the county to do that. So we're still here. How are we in operation? I mean, we're very frugal. Believe me, as soon as you leave this room, I'm turning off the AC. And that's how we survive. And as far as capacity, so we have, in accepting the responsibility, the additional responsibility of people who are going through the immigration process, we just added that. So we still receive local families. So on any given day, you can come and see a local family that just got evicted, and their children playing with another family from Afghanistan with kids, and they don't speak the same language, but they're playing together in our playground, because we don't say no to either group. I don't think we've ever said no to anybody. We don't detain anybody, we don't hold anybody, we just provide a safe place for them to be here for as long as we can. Yeah, we don't have a lot, but what we do have, it's like my parents used to say, right? My friend would come from school with me and say, hey, can I stay over and eat dinner at your house? And I'd look at my mom and I was, pues, no tenemos mucho, pero lo que hay. That's it.
So there isn't a specific capacity or number of, just to get an idea.
Yeah, I mean, on a comfortable side, we can do 150 people, easy. On a squeeze like sardines, 250. But even like that, we used to have people that they don't care. They would rather sleep in the courtyard than be somewhere else and out in the streets, right? So we provide a safe place. We can provide you with a cot, a bunk, a pillow, a mattress. We can do that at the very least.
And I've been here, they know better, and we've been here where the courtyard is full. Yeah, those were the other days. Now, remember what I said, depending on what time of the day, they come in the day, they've been in detention, they want to get home, they get a bus ticket, and let's go. Now, one more for the folks. The folks that are coming here, what are their different nationalities?
We're getting people from usual, right? We've gotten people from Honduras, Guatemala, but we are seeing different. We're seeing people from Russia, Ukraine, we're seeing people from China, we're seeing all over the world actually, but it's different this time. We're seeing a little bit more Afghanistan, Russia, a little bit of everything. So Google Translate became a best friend.
So that's an important statement. Sisters?
Congressman, excuse me for not standing, but I don't want to leave here without a clarification. When you said they had the paper, but it was not honored, was it not honored by the asylum seeker or by Border Patrol? Not Border Patrol, because we saw like what happened in San Antonio and other places, and I got notified when they were doing that in San Antonio, where people would show up in court with their paperwork, and then as soon as they were walking out, ICE was ready to pick them up. They were showing up. That's
Yes. They were trying, and this is why I said, these are people that are trying to follow the rules. Why are you trying to go after those people? They're trying to follow the rules on that.
One of the things, they want numbers.
Yes.
Let's be very clear about that. They want the numbers that they said they were going to get rid of these people, but they're not the rapists and the murderers. Okay, one question. One thing. I think, and Mike, I hope you don't get mad at me, but when you're asking for donations, be specific. Having worked with you, they help us at Casa Misericordia. They don't qualify for Casa Misericordia, they'll help the families. This is happening, okay. Be specific. I trust these people. Give them money. They do not send bags and bags of clothes. They don't, and that's what has happened. I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind. They can have clothes, and they have bags and bags of clothes. They don't need clothes. They need money to buy Pampers, soap, shampoo. Pampers are the biggie thing, and food. We trust them. I trust them with my life. I think, thank God they had a great reputation. They picked up the phone and called you. And I think that speaks highly for you all. I don't know it in other places. So that was my one question. Send them money. If you don't think you can trust them, then don't send your money and keep it and go buy groceries. I don't care what you do. Number one, they need money. Is that right? Sure. Thank you. Number two is that I think if we're really trying to look at the transparency, Congressman, it's really started in Los Angeles. It was Los Angeles, Chicago, Tennessee. It's a thing that they're doing so they get the numbers to speak of. How is that gonna be stopped?
Yeah.
And then when you say that we don't want to close down the government, what leverage do we have? I mean, you have these masks, they look like thugs. Be honest, they look like thugs. They don't have cameras right now. We've seen cameras, we know stories here where people are picked up and sent off. They shouldn't have been sent. We have no recourse. I used to be able to call ICE people, Border Patrol people, they don't even answer the phone anymore. There is nobody you can really talk to. And what is the answer then? Because you say, I voted for the bill because I didn't want this to happen and that happened. But what leverage does I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or whatever, to stop this madness? It has to be stopped, and what are we gonna do?
You know, what we need is checks and balances. No, don't. If you ask me a question,
I'm
sister,
gonna answer it. My face speaks. I should put a bag over my head.
She helped deliver my first one, maybe the second one too, but the first one. We've known each other for a long time. So we do need checks and balances. Right now, look, the Republicans control the House and Senate and the White House. They do. And if you look at it, when we were negotiating the Homeland Security bill, we were down to 2 items. Then the first shooting came in. And one of those items that was left was a border wall exception for this area. That was one. And then the shooting came in, dynamics changed on ICE oversight. Then we worked something out, and the Senate Democrats and the House leadership and everybody, they all agreed. And then the second shooting came in, and all of a sudden people just, we're leaving everybody. I call it putting people under the bus, but I'm not going to say that. And so then if you're saying the leverage by shutting down the government, remember what I said. The big, beautiful bill, which I think every Democrat voted against it, besides cutting Medicaid, Medicare, affordable health care, et cetera, put in $75 billion to ICE by itself. $75 billion for ICE only, $200 billion for Homeland. So the leverage, just like the border wall, the last time we had the leverage of the border wall, this time they put $46.5 billion on the border wall. They thought ahead and they said, we're not going to give them that leverage. Here, they knew what they were doing, so they added money for ICE, $75 billion. So even the leverage you're talking about, even if you close down the government, ICE still has the money. It doesn't close the very agency you want to affect.
I'm not saying close it down, but what options does anybody have? People are throwing up their hands. They don't watch the news because they don't have any leverage.
Yeah.
They don't know who to call, who to talk to,
Well,
because our government has gone bonkers. I don't say close down.
And again, I know you don't want to hear this, but the leverage will come after November. But for now, just listen, sister, please.
Survival.
Yeah. For now, they did. If you shut down the government, all the provisions that we fought for are gone. The rail guards are gone. The cameras, 20 million, the money for de-escalation, the Civil Rights Office, the other, for the first time, remember, reconciliation, the big beautiful bill. The reason I don't like it, it's outside the appropriations. We added $38 million for the Inspector General to inspect detention centers and provide oversight over the reconciliation. I wanted more things. I wanted, the details of the use of force, and I still think, like the Senate's talking, we want a code of conduct for ICE agents. I have no idea what that means. If we enforce and put the provisions that I wanted to add of the use of force, then we would have not had that happen, in my opinion. For example, remember the shooting of the car, Good? First thing is, as a law enforcement, we got a law enforcement, you never get in front of a car like that person did. And you can see the lady had her wheel turned, and if you're going to stop a vehicle, you'll shoot at the engine or you shoot at the tire, not straight at the head like they did. The training part, who knows who they're bringing in? 15 days training online, or 42 days if you know Spanish, or 47. You don't do training that. How do we know who's coming in? We don't know who's coming in. I try to add that language. Interesting. They said no on the training and the use of force on it. So we can talk more, but let me finish. There was one more.
I had a question for Ms. Aguilera.
Yes.
Are you going to recommend City Council to look for ways to help holding?
So, the first go-round, when the congressman had provided money for communities to apply for grants to help their institutions that were helping the immigrants, and we saw that big surge, and I would say it was an economic refugee surge, people seeking asylum. We had just had COVID. Nobody seems to remember that economies crashed in other countries, and that is why we had the surge. It's not that we had all of a sudden bad people coming in. They were just trying to feed their families. So the City of Laredo applied for as many grants as we could, and all of our departments helped out with that money. Now, those resources are not available. So we act according to our resources. We are always a good neighbor. We can respond in however way we can. But there are not, right now, extra funds to do that. Will I recommend that? Certainly. But we are still strong in our support for what we can. We treat them like we treat all the residents in this area. If they need police protection, it's here. They need fire protection, it's here. And then our other departments, if they need public health services, that's provided for everyone. So of course we would extend those services and do extend those services here. So we're very supportive, and hopefully we can be more supportive.
And I will say this, with Mike's permission, Congressman, we have police presence outside now. Chief Hurd for the fire department has always been at a full call away. Health department's here today. So we do get a lot of help in that sense from the city.
But what I also want to say, they're helping. It is not the city's responsibility, it is the federal government, because if you hold somebody, it is the federal government. The $75 billion they got for ICE, maybe they can use some of this to help. I mean, they're bringing them over here. So maybe use some of that $75 billion they got on reconciliation, the big beautiful bill. And you said, now after this, we've been in conversations. We've been talking to the Appropriations Committee to see if we can help them on some funding, because I don't think it's right for ICE to be dropping folks here. They're going to do the right thing with or without money, but be a little nicer if you get a little assistance. But it is a federal responsibility to pay for this. And they do have $75 billion from the big beautiful bill. But we are doing a conversation or call with the Appropriations Committee on Homeland to see if we can help them in certain ways without going into too much detail.
I have a question for Pastor Mike. Mike, Holding was the name of the founding family, and a lot of people confuse that and they think it's a holding center.
Yeah.
Does that create a problem for you all?
It does at times. So Holding is the surname of the founder, Nanny Emery Holding. She was an Episcopal missionary that was sent down from Kansas to the end of the earth, which was Laredo at the time, to found a school. And so the school was named after her. That's the reason we're in it. But it's also important to note that we've been in existence since 1860, but we are the fruit of the prayer and the concern and the labor of a group of women missionaries from Episcopal Church in Kansas City. So everything good comes from a woman, I believe.
And from Missouri.
All right. I think that should be it. So one last question.
¿Qué le podría decir a organizaciones civiles que están en contra de toda esta manifestación? ¿Usted qué opina sobre estas declaraciones que tienen en contra de estas movimientos de detención?
Bueno, no que estamos en contra de lo que están haciendo ahorita. El proceso que están usando no está lógico. porque unas de esas personas ya estaban en el proceso de ir a una corte de inmigración y lo debemos de pensar un poquito más. Ellos deben de pensar lo que están haciendo, pero están haciendo la misma cosa que hizo el Obama administration, Biden administration, donde pescan, lo dejan ir a una ciudad en la frontera y a que esas personas regresan, y ese es un costo a la comunidad que están haciendo, pero ellos lo van a hacer porque es la cosa humana de hacer, ayudar a esas personas.
Can we also have the answer in English, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, look, I should think about what they're doing here because they're catching people, some of newcomers, but some of them are catching people, detaining people that are already in court, at an immigration court, trying to follow the right thing. And then they're sent to a detention center for X amount of time, limited because of their kids. It's a family-centered day. And then they're released at a border community, and then they start the same process for many of them that they had already. Why are you doing this process again where they already had a legal process? Thank you very much, and I want to thank Holding Institute for the process.
Thank you.
1860. Yeah, I was trying to say, I can respond to that.
The domestic violence shelter, because of which you become a nurse, and also domestic violence.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Daniela. I'm a reporter at a cable station. Yeah, thank you.
Where is that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe we can
Tan complejo.
Yeah, well, first, the legislative process